Hello everyone, and welcome to Still Meditation. My name is Lella, and tonight we're going to talk about deep listening, or mindful listening. And you might be thinking, what is that? Deep listening is actually a practice of suspending your own reactive thinking and opening your awareness to the unknown and unexpected in a caring, receptive, and trusting way. And what does that mean? Well, it's a transformational communication tool because it gives you the time and space to fully absorb what your partner is saying. And it encourages them to feel heard and speak more openly and honestly. A culture of listening could be seen as a culture of learning because you're opening that awareness and increasing your receptivity to what you're hearing. So we know that mindful meditation improves our ability to maintain focus and pay attention. So then deep listening has the potential to translate into deep focus into other areas of our life and work. So let's think of an example. Why don't you try to recall a time when you know you were not being listened to? You had someone that you were speaking with that clearly was distracted, disinterested, maybe looking at their phone or looking away, and clearly just uninterested in what you had to say. How did that make you feel? What did it make you think? How did you feel in your body? Were you dejected, angry, upset? This, of course, is an example of bad listening. And I think it's systemic in our society right now. Communication is broken. Our attention span has reduced to seconds. And we tend to react without fully knowing the whole story, which of course can have some extreme consequences. Those with these underdeveloped listening skills are frequently unable to separate their own needs and interests from those of others, and they're also more likely to interrupt. They attend to the surface of the words rather than listening for what is between the lines. And when they do speak, they can be responding either with an automatic bias or they are in debate mode and they're just waiting to counter your argument. Now let's look at the opposite side. Let's recall a time when you were clearly being listened to. So have you been in the situation where you're speaking to someone and you can tell they are fully invested in what you're saying, and you feel like you're the only person in the world for them at that moment? And they seem truly engaged with what you were saying and were attentively listening. How did that make you feel? What thoughts made it rise? And how did it feel in your body? Did you feel validated, important, understood? This is, of course, an example of good listening. I think a lot of you have done the active listening training, either in workplaces, where really you're listening to what someone says and then you repeat it back to them to make sure that you've understood, which is excellent and it's definitely a hallmark. But what we do with mindful listening or deep listening is we take it to that one step further. It means you are giving an open-minded, generally interested attention to others. And you allow yourself the time and the space to fully absorb what they're saying. When someone sees that you're actively listening and listening deeply, it encourages them to feel heard, and they tend to speak more openly and freely. Deep listening is a generous, empathetic, supportive, accurate, and it's trusting. But just because it's trusting does not imply your agreement with what's being said. The trust really confers to the other person that regardless of how they say something, whether it's poorly or well, it's coming from something that they believe is true in their experience. So how do we cultivate deep listening? How do we transform our own listening skills to be able to be more attentive to other people? So let's take a second to evaluate your own listening. Are you reactive? Do you tend to interrupt? Do you need to prove a point all the time? Maybe you're an automatic pilot. Are you distracted? Or are you listening to understand? And this can change depending on the circumstance you're in. Can't all be deep listeners all the time. We're human. So to practice deep listening, we really have to develop that attention and that ability to maintain attention. And of course, the way we do that is we first learn how to listen to ourselves. So we need self-awareness in order to properly perceive, receive, or interact authentically with others so that we can consciously choose not to get distracted. Of course, this is a skill that needs to be developed. When we do this, we begin to cultivate a behavior of listening to understand as opposed to just responding. So now we're going to do a meditation which is going to focus on listening. And we'll be listening to sounds outside the body and sounds within the body as well, as we continue to strive to train our attention, to be able to maintain our attention for longer periods. So as before, I'm going to begin and conclude the meditation by ringing the bell 3 times. And I invite you to pull out of the meditation if you find yourself getting stressed or you find that this is not the time for you right now. So let us begin. So find a comfortable position, either standing, sitting upright, with your back and neck and head straight, but not rigid, or even lying down. You can allow your eyes to gently close, or you can maintain a soft focus about 6 to 12 feet in front of you. Let's take a slow, deep breath in. To bring ourselves to the present moment. And let's do this 3 more times so we can stimulate the parasympathetic system to begin that relax mode. So breathe in and breathe out. And then 2 more times at your own pace. Now let's take a moment or 2 to mentally scan our body. Let's look for any areas where you're feeling tightness or tension, soreness. And let's just softly breathe into that space. And with each breath, just relax a little bit more. And if you find it necessary, adjust your position to make yourself a little more comfortable. Let your senses be wide and awake. And let's focus on listening. Let's listen for sounds as they start, progress, and then eventually fade away. You don't need to name it. Just listen. Sounds can be coming from the immediate space you're in or further outside. Notice the silence in between the sounds. Allow yourself to be receptive, open, and non-reactive. And if you find your mind beginning to formulate on a thought, remembering the past, or planning for the future, just gently bring it back to listening. Listening is our most direct path to awareness. It is a state of open wakefulness. Now let's let the external sounds dissolve into the background as we turn our attention inwards to our body. Let's focus on our eyes. Maybe you can feel blood vessels pulsing behind them. Scan our cheeks, jaws, mouth, and teeth. You sense any vibration. Now let's move to our neck and shoulders and feel any sensations from the inside out. Listening for sensations within the body is our act of being alive. And recognizing that we are here in this present moment. Let's move our awareness down our arms to our hands. Can you feel tingling? Maybe changes in temperature and moisture. Now let's move into our chest, to our heart center. And let's listen to our heartbeat. Let's be aware of this regular rhythmic pumping of our heart. And as we move to our abdomen, it may help to put a hand there to more easily sense the sensations. Maybe you can hear the gurgling. Now let's bring this receptive presence to your pelvic region and your upper legs. Whether you're sitting, standing, or lying, can you feel the vibration? Maybe your muscles tensing. And finally, let's move down to our feet. And here you could feel temperature changes, tingling, maybe cramping. And with the next breath, Let's expand our attention and our awareness to our whole body. And let's listen for any sensations that may be occurring within it. Now let's bring our attention to our breath. And feel it as it moves in and out of your body. There's no need to change it. It is perfect the way it is. And see if you can hear it as it gently enters and exits your nose. If you've noticed your mind has wandered and that you may no longer be feeling any sensations, just gently bring it back to either your breath or sensations within the body. And maybe you notice when you listen, you can feel what is happening in your body. But when you think, you've lost that connection. With the next breath, let's expand our awareness to include external sounds. As we bring our awareness back to the space we are in. And as you continue to train your awareness, you'll notice that you'll be able to sustain your attention for longer and longer periods. starts to think again. Just be kind and bring it back to listening. When you can maintain this intention with yourself, you're then ready to maintain this intention or attention with others. And as you are being kind to others, remember to always be kind to yourself. Mindfulness is hard work. And as you have moved between external sounds and sounds within your body, know that you can revisit this awareness at any time by simply listening. I think listening is the greatest gift you can give anyone. When you are truly present and truly giving of yourself and listening to what someone else has to say, you are showing them the highest form of respect and honoring them thoroughly. Thank you so much for following or joining this evening. And if you have any comments, feel free to drop me an email. Or if there's anything else you would like to see on the channel, then definitely don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a lovely evening and be safe.